Orcust is back. Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. No, we haven't received the new support for Orcust, but Orcust does now have another buddy with which to play, and that is, of course, Fiendsmith. We're always talking about Fiendsmith because I'm going to talk about Fiendsmith until there are no more decks to talk about, which just is not going to happen. Anyway, let's quickly go through the explanation and the card by card. Starting off with the Orcust stuff, if you don't know, Orcust really likes being in the graveyard. However, they also dark lock you, so keep that in mind. But all of the Orcust monsters basically do something if they are sent to the graveyard or want to send cards to the graveyard or something of that nature in order to do special summon or generate some sort of advantage in that capacity. Most notably, Harp Horror, which says banish it from the grave in order to special summon a guy from deck, which is very, very good. Most of the time, what you're wanting to summon is Girsu, if you haven't already used Girsu to send the Harp Horror. On top of that, you can also summon things like Symbol Skeleton or Orcust Nightmare. But yeah, this is where the main, or this is like the main starter, quote unquote, as long as he hits the grave. Then we also have, of course, the Girsu, which is the actual main starter. You normal summon him, you send the Harp Horror, and then Harp Horror can reborn a guy. And pretty much any two monsters also get you into the full Orcust combo, thanks to Nightmare Mermaid being unbanned, which is kind of crazy to think about. This is the only meta where, or the only format where Nightmare Mermaid is legal. Like, it's banned in the TCG and the OCG, which is really strange to think about, but this card is absolutely insane, because what it does is it basically turns any two monsters to go into the Nightmare Phoenix, then into the Nightmare Mermaid, and Nightmare Mermaid can then special summon the Orcust Nightmare, which can then do the full Orcust line by going into Galatea, and Galatea from there gets the rest of the line, which I'll show you later. But there you go. Pretty interesting, right? So because of that, of course, we're also playing Terror Top. We're running 3 apiece of the Terror Top, as well as the one Takatomborg as the search target, and it just gives us the ability to use those two bodies to either go into the Nightmare half of the engine, or, of course, to also go into the Moon of the Closed Heaven to do the Fiendsmith stuff, which, of course, we're also playing in here. Now, Fiendsmith also does double duty in this deck, because using the Beatrice, we can also get into the Orcust shenanigans, right? Being able to send an Orcust monster does that whole combo. You can also make Desiree, which is also very useful in such a control style deck, or more of like a mid-range style deck. So that's very nice. Desiree is extremely useful there. So all in all, Fiendsmith does very good. I'm going to quickly run through each individual card that we're playing, and then just yeah, we'll hop into the replays. Starting off with the Fiendsmith stuff, the 1 Lurie, the 2 Engraver, and 3 Trax. Trax is very good, being able to pitch the Orcust cards, so we're of course playing 3 of it. Or, of course, we're also running the Speedroid Terror Top at 3, and then 1 Takatomborg. We're running 1 Symbol Skeleton from Orcust, 3 Harp Horror, 3 Girsu, and 2 Orcust Nightmare, as well as 1 World Wand, which this is just a hard brick. You'd never want to see it. However, what it does do is it does allow you to special summon from Banish, so it's very useful with the Orcust Nightmare to get extra bodies onto the field to be used for the rest of your combo. Very useful. We're also running 2 Armageddonite as just an additional normal summon that we have. It just sends a dark monster to the grave. Great, fantastic, send Harp Horror. It basically does the same thing as Girsu. Why are we playing more Girsu? Because Girsu also does more by itself. It special summons a token, which is pretty nice. So, does a little bit more with that. So that's pretty much it. As for the rest, we're just playing the other bricks that we're playing, the 1 Orchestrated Return, for Galatea. These are all Galatea targets. The 1 Battle and the 1 Crescendo. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest are hand traps and or non-engine. 2 Droll, 2 Maxi, 3 Fualos, the 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Nibiru, 2 Called By, and 3 Infip. We're playing 42 because I wanted to add in the Speedroid Terror Top combo, and so we had to kind of bump up the amount of numbers, and it just means we're less likely to see the dead cards in our hands, right? We're playing quite a few of them, so just being able to see less of them is nice. As for the extra, we're playing the 1 Lacrima, the 1 Desiree, the 1 Beatrice, the 2 Dingirsu, 1 Mermaid, 1 Requiem, 1 Phoenix, the 2 Galatea, the 1 IP Masquerena, the 1 SP, the 1 Moon, the 1 Sequence, and the 1 Long Girsu. So that's it for the deck. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are going first, and let's see what we can do with this hand. This goes to show you what we can do with the Terror Top. So we're going to special summon it and then activate its effect in order to grab up the Takatomborg, special summon that one, and then from there go into Moon. Since we already have Armageddon Knight, it makes more sense to go Moon here. We're going to go for the Requiem. Requiem effect is going to activate, special summon out the Engraver, normal summon the Armageddon, get promptly negated, and that's A-okay, because guess what? We can just use those to go into Sequence here, and then activate the Sequence effect, which will be promptly met by the Bestial Magma, which actually doesn't do anything here. So, out comes Lacrima. Lacrima can get from Banish. Did you know that Lacrima could also obtain the card from Banish? I'm sure you did. You're a smart cookie. So we're going to grab up the Tract here, and we're going to activate the effects of the Tract in order to grab up the Lurry, and then we're going to pitch the Lurry in order to special summon it. So out comes this guy. We're then going to link those two off into IP Masquerena and shuffle back the Lurry with the Lacrima, and then activate the Engraver to special summon it, and now we can go into the Phoenix. And from Phoenix, we can do the Mermaid. Out comes Mermaid. Mermaid has to discard a card in order to special summon the Nightmare, and now we can go into Galatea. Now we also do have the Harpor already engraved, so there's that. I do a little bit of a goof here with the just way that I target a few things here, but for the most part, this is all still the same. We're sending we're summoning the Girsu off of the Harpor. Girsu is sending Symbol Skeleton since we already had the Nightmare in rotation here, and then I shuffle back the Harpor instead of waiting on the Galatea. I do just do this here. I should have just waited and used the World Wand to bring back Harpor, or actually, most likely bring back Nightmare here. And then from there, I shuffle back the World Wand, because all of the other things are more advantageous for us under Babel. If you don't know what Babel does, Babel is one of the coolest field spells in all of creation. Basically what it says is, you could just use Orcust monsters in the grave, or your Link monsters that are Orcust as quick effects. So instead of using them as ignition effects and like having to, use them on your turn, you can use them on the opponent's turn, which is really cool. It just allows you to kind of play on the opponent's turn in a very smart way. So all in all, pretty cool. Anyway, we're going to go for the World Wand here to reborn the Nightmare, and then we are going to link, Xyz into Dingirsu. Dingirsu is going to attach, and then we are also going to link into the second Galatea. We're going to set one and pass. They're going to grab Albion, the Shrouded Dragon, and I'm like, A-okay, can't really do anything about that. Anyway, out comes the Albion. They're going to send to the Graveyard the Retribution, and then go for Regain to activate the effect of their Bestial Lubellion, which I will promptly call by because they didn't make me use any of my hand traps and or interactions, or interaction protection, I should say. So, there you go. They're going to shuffle back to draw a card here, and then, of course, normal summon Fallen Babas. I can't really do anything about that, but I do specifically want the Dingirsu engrave, and if they were to go like Mirror Jade, if they take Albaz, take my Masquerena, link it away into Mirror Jade, or fuse away into Mirror Jade, and then banish the Dingirsu, that's like extremely bad for me. So I do end up making the SP Little Knight just to have it be used as material. But that's much better for me, just all things considered. My opponent's going to go to combat here. We're going to go for the Symbol Skeleton in order to summon out the Dingirsu. Dingirsu is going to send away the Trap card, and then we also get to boost here with the Orcust Nightmare. Didn't mention that previously, because generally it doesn't come up a whole bunch, but it came up there. So yeah, we do get a crash here. And oh no, my monsters are going to die. It doesn't really matter, my opponent sees the writing on the wall. We have the full Fiendsmith engine, and I would say we had the full Orcust engine, but this game is one of the reasons why I added Longirsu to the deck, because genuinely speaking, at that point, I don't have anything that my Orcust monsters can do, because Galatea is banished and in the grave, and I only play the one Symbol Skeleton, which is the only way to get back that Galatea to cycle more resources. So, uh-oh. But alas, there you go. Alright, so here we are going second, and that's 2 Terror Tops and 2 Infips. Man, if I was playing poker, this would be a good hand. Anyway, my opponent normal summons the Yubel card. No one's playing Sacred Beast, let's be honest, this is Yubel. Obviously, we're going to imperm that. There's not really a better option there. They're going to go for the Nightmare Pain, which they just have. Out comes the Spirit of Yubel. They're going to set 2, and then into Phantom. Luckily, we do have the imperm for this, so we don't have to deal with the Phantom, but that's not great. That is a great draw, however, so wow, okay, I guess we just get to play the game as if nothing happened. Anyway, we're going to imperm here in order to go into the Takatomborg, and Droll actually doesn't do a whole lot to us here. It does a little. It means that the Fiendsmith stuff doesn't get to do exactly what we want it to do, but for the most part, we still get to do pretty much everything. I don't think there's a search card other than Return here, Everything else either sets or activates or summons or something of that nature. So, yeah. Droll is really not that big of a deal for us. We're going to go for the Phoenix here and ready to pop the Infip. Yeah, of course it's Infip. Now, I am also going to take a little bit more caution here, and we're going to go for the Nightmare Mermaid, pitching our other card in order to go into the Moon of Closed Heaven, just in case this is another Imperm. I don't think it is, but there is that chance. Anyway, out comes Engraver. Engraver is going to be equipped with the Requiem. Requiem is going to send away the whatchamacallit. Now we get to normal summon here and go into sequence. Also, I have to do this way instead of going for any of the Orcust stuff, because again, Orcust monsters, if they're banished from the grave, lock you into dark monsters. All of the Fiendsmith stuff is light, so that is something to keep in mind. Anyway, out comes Lacrima. Lacrima's effect is going to then add to the hand. I think I'm actually supposed to add... No. I'm not supposed to add there. I'm supposed to special. Anyway, we go for the Beatrice here. We're going to detach and then just send the Symbol Skeleton, and then go for the Orcust Harp Horror in order to special summon out the Nightmare, go into Galateus, set back, or shuffle back, grab up the Babel into the... Or, sorry, we're going to go Nightmare here into the World Wand, boosting up the Beatrice. I'm trying to obtain lethal here, and I just can't see the line. I don't know if there is a way that I could have potentially gone for lethal, but I do go for the Dingirsu, sending away the Trap Card, which was the Eternal Favorite. And then we're going to special summon out with the Symbol Skeleton into the Galatea. Or, not into the Galatea, into the Girsu. And I'm 500, I believe, short of lethal. So, 300, even closer. So I couldn't really think of anything there. Anyway, we go for the SP Little Knight here, and we just banish the Nightmare Pain. I could have gone for IP Masquerena there, but I think SP was just objectively better due to the fact that we just immediately get rid of the Nightmare Pain, and we don't have to contend with, like, them drawing something and then immediately going into, you know, multiple monsters that I can't just deal with. So that's why we do that. Also, Symbol Skeleton is now just banished, and now we just have to wait here because I can't use it to get back Dingirsu, so oops. My bad. But that's okay. We're just going to banish here in order to give that guy some attack points because it's funny, and then detach and just kind of send cards here. They don't do anything. But my opponent realizes that as soon as they were to activate the effect of their monster that they summon, I would just tag out with the SP, and it didn't matter because they didn't have anything. So, that was really close. That was an insane top deck from my opponent there. Alright, here we are once again going, well, second. Let's see what we can do here. We do have Girsu, which is not looking nearly as good now. Okay. Called by is not great. We're going to go for the Girsu and get Solemn Struck. Okay. Well, not looking good. We're probably playing against some sort of stun, but I'll set the Called by and just pass and kind of hope that they don't really have anything. They go for the Pot of Extrav. Okay, yeah, obviously I'm going to Ash that. Why would I? The second strike, of course they have the second strike. Why do they not have the second strike? There is that one pass. Okay, yeah. Not really much I can do there. I grab Engraver, which is a fantastic draw, so we're going to go for the Engraver. They didn't have the third strike? What? Dimensional Barrier and Lady. Okay, yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. We're going to go for the Lurie here. I'm just going to actually pitch the Lurie to special summon it. And then out comes the Requiem. Why did we not pitch Harp Horror? Because we can just normal summon that. We could do either or. Normal summon the Lurie, normal summon Harp Horror. Either way, that's going to be our normal. So we normal summon here in order to go into the Phoenix here. I was originally, the reason I summoned the Engraver the way that I did was because I was originally going to use these two to go into Nightmare Phoenix. But this does require two monsters with different names. So, oops. Anyway, we're going to pitch the Nib to pop Judgment, which they just didn't use for some reason. Out comes SP Little Knight. We're going to banish the Rollback, which they said, which is kind of funny. And now we can go for the Girsu. Girsu is going to send the Orcust Nightmare. We're going to activate the effect of the Orcust Nightmare, and my opponent just concedes there. The reason I chose this game was because genuinely it shows the power of this deck and like the ability to play not just into back row, but more specifically just like eliminate back row. Phoenix, Dingirsu, SP Little Knight, etc. just have these abilities to just deal with the back row just as much as monsters, which is very cool. So, there you go. Good game. Alright, we're back with the deck, and honestly, is this deck insane? No. Is it better than other variants of Orcust? No, not necessarily, but it is still pretty fun. As I've mentioned a bunch of times in these videos, Desiree is very good in this deck. Reason being, in a in a lower power deck, having the ability to use Desiree is a lot better, just because having that consistent Omni Negate means that your other stuff tends to resolve a bit more, so it's just very nice in that regard. It also gives you access to Beatrice, which is an absolutely obscene card and should be banned. I would be surprised if it wasn't banned on the next ban list, so there you go. Maybe it'll probably be banned post Duelist Cup, which kind of sucks, because they don't like to shake up the meta too much, but it should be banned immediately, so there you go. But yeah, all things considered, it's just more Orcust fun. I really enjoy Orcust. I think it's a very fun deck. So, there you go. Anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, like us very much. So, appreciate it. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.